Still alive. A few palpitations.
Got there.
Yeah.
Camera's happy? Happy? Thank you.
Joe, are you happy with the performance?
I don't know that I'm ever happy with a performance completely, but I'm certainly happy with some of the elements of the performance. I thought the way we built to a 19-3 lead was pretty dominant, and I was really happy with the way that we were pretty much dictating the game at that stage. But obviously, it's been a bit of a recurrent theme over these 3 games. We started to lose a bit of, maybe a little bit of discipline initially, and then stacked a few penalties and put ourselves under pressure. I thought Filippo was unlucky. He gets a finger to the ball. It's a partial charge down, but it's one of those risk-reward situations. And once we lost Filippo, we playing 14 against 15, it does become tough. But again, just before half-time, I thought that try was excellent, and we needed it at the time.
First time in 9 years that Wallabes have won their first 3 matches of the year. It says a little bit about the state of the game, but that must do a huge amount for confidence, but also confidence in your program too.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Al and the players really, but I think we're trying to just layer things slowly to try to build our game. It was one of the things that we wanted to do today, just try a few different things. You would have seen that, in the first 2 weeks we tended to kick a lot off the kick-off receive. We try to just reposition and kick differently, just to try to keep growing the way that we can exit our territory. And I think if we're too predictable, we put ourselves under pressure. So, those are some of the things that we wanted to get out of this week on the back of training and then into the game.
Joe, you've had 3 tests, 3 victories. Is that the audition process over for the Rugby Championship in your mind? Have you got a bit more of a settled team, if not squad?
Yeah, it's certainly the audition over, because I don't think that we can afford to probably be as loose with the ball, to get it ripped off us, and probably give up some tries that we're disappointed with. So I think going forward to the Rugby Championship, we've learned a little bit more about the players. We're very much a tight coaching group, so I can't speak for all the coaches at the moment. We haven't had time to have a good look at the game. But whatever decisions we make will be based on 3 games and 3 weeks of training, or 3.5 weeks of training, with a little couple of days in Brisbane before that. But I'm also realistic. I've been doing, jobs similar to this for a long time, and the thing that you realise is that things do take time, and building combinations takes time. Building a game model that people become familiar with and automate the actions that are required for, that does take time. But we're out of time. We've got to be able to deliver against South Africa, which is a whole different level, obviously.
What do you think you need to specifically do? I mean, obviously the rolling maul from last week, that was addressed this week, but overall against South Africa, to compete at that level, obviously the Irish got up, but what do you think Australia specifically, what are the work ones for you?
We'll have a look back at the game. It's hard to say, straight off the pitch what they are exactly. You have a gut feel, and my gut feel is just that we were too loose with the ball. We gave them opportunities, and we were unstructured because, at one stage we're over the line. We just have to get it down, and we get it ripped off us, and they go the length and score. Another one, we get a leg down, and the ball carrier thinks that it's a tackle situation, and the tackler's got a release, lets the ball go, and suddenly they've got it, and they score there as well. So we've got to make sure we're looking after the ball better, particularly a metre from the line or over the line, as those 2 examples demonstrate.
What about the 5'8" for the 10 position. Is that, I mean, it's hard after such a little amount of games as coach, but do you have a clear idea who could potentially be that person in that pocket?
Yeah, that is definitely one that we're going to have to look back and you know, have a think about. We you know, both guys who played tonight and Tom Liner, the three guys, they are working hard, and you know, for them there's a lot of expectation because they tend to drive the game, so they have a pretty busy week. And one of the things as coaches, our responsibility is to lighten their week so they can get their skill repetitions in, because it's probably some of those smaller skills. You know, there was a few kicks tonight that we know can be better. We've seen them kick them better, and hopefully that'll be demonstrated in 3 weeks' time.
So the back row trio of the two Queenslanders and Rob as well, would you make their performance tonight? Was pretty good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think they were good. Yeah, Rob Valentini he's a known quantity to us. Fraser was outstanding. First time he's captained Australia, I think. Certainly when Al came off, and yeah, he had a couple of crucial involvements, both getting on the ball, scoring and a try himself through the middle of the line out, and then coming off the back of the line out and getting into space and linking with the third member of the back row, Harry Wilson, who on the back of coming 40 minutes in a club game, coming back into an international, I thought he did really well. Big engine, kept going, which we were a bit worried about initially. We thought, you know, the 50, 60 minute mark, he might be starting to struggle, but he was still doing a really good job for us.
What do you put down, like, the tentativeness of the 10s at the moment, struggling to find touch, probably basic things at times for an international player? Is that a mental thing, do you think, or is it a skill thing?
Yeah, I do think it's a mental thing. There's a lot being asked of the 10s at the moment, and I do think that they'll have the opportunity to improve when they can be, you know, clearer. It's a little bit cluttered for them at the moment because they drive the team around. They're trying to make decisions on the fly and then also execute their skill. I thought as the game went on, Ben Donaldson kicked better and better, kicked better at goal, kicked better for the line, and Noah, you know, probably just tried to take a little bit too much out of the one that he put dead in goal. So I encourage them to go into that 5 metre channel. We want to be able to get those line outs as close as we can for the big men to have a crack from.
Eddie kind of flipped the switch last year with going to youth, but in the years before that, Dave kept returning to older 10s. First, like Bernard and then James O'Connor and Quade. James, mate, he's come back just the other night. He's only 34. Do you re-look at those sorts of things, or do you really have to back these kind of crop of 23, 24, 25-year-olds?
Yeah, I thought James played well last night, did some good things. At the same time, I think the three guys we've got have all had good Super Rugby seasons, and it is a step up. It's definitely, there's less space to breathe, but it's all new to them as well. You know, Noah has a rhythm from having been at the Brumbies for quite a long time. Ben Donaldson, you know, even when you talk to Ben, he had Nick White and Kurtley Beale. He was free to play, and we need to help those 10s be as good as they can be. Tom's probably had the least time with a bit of a hamstring issue, but you know, I do think those three guys, if we don't invest in them now, you know, I think it'll be difficult for them, and we're not sure. You know, if you put them in and out, they don't get continuity, they don't build confidence. So, yeah, I'm not sure individually because, as I say, the coaches are a tight group, and decisions will be made on the back of what we've seen at training so far and then over the last 3 weeks.
I was just going to say, you know, 2 points up with Georgia with momentum. With the forward pack to really step up there, how much pride do you take as a leader of that pack, the way they really not turn that game, but turn momentum, or able to just close out the game for you guys in the end there?
Yeah, I think that was massive for us. There was a lot of confidence in the pack, and it helps my decision whether you go for a post or the corner when the boys are telling you to go for the corner. So we knew that our rhino was set up nicely from what we did in the first half, and I think most importantly the way that we prepared all week, because we knew that it was going to be a tough battle up front in the scrum and in the maul. So I think with an outside back down for 20 minutes, we knew as a forward pack that we needed to take control of the game, and I think I was just really proud of that effort from the pack.
Last couple, please, guys.
Joe, in terms of coming to Australia, the rugby culture here, there is a bit of at times a fascination about the Wallabes captain. Don't know what it's like with the All Blacks, but in terms of the captains, obviously you had man beside you who captained really well today. Have you got somebody in mind going into the rugby championship? Is that a bit clearer for you?
It is complicated for us, because I think what we have to do first is just get the squad right as best we can, and then the captaincy on top of that. And with the captaincy, it goes even beyond the coaches. We've got a really strong, quite small but strong leadership group, and those sort of decisions we actually discuss with them as well.
Joe, 3 wins out of 3. Does this sort of reinforce your idea that, I want to reinforce the notion of just picking from Australia, or for the rugby champions, will you sort of look at your options at bringing maybe 1 or 2 players in?
Yeah, I think we're open to bringing guys in, but we've also been impressed with the guys that we've had, and while the performances have ebbed and flowed, and we're frustrated by that, but when we've flowed, we've actually looked pretty good, I think, with the players we have. So if we can supplement that with a couple of guys who make a difference, that's great. But at the same time, that means leaving someone out who's contributed really well so far. So it's just finding the balance there and trying to build from there.
On a more positive note, obviously you had to experiment, and you brought in some players who've really put their hands up. Maybe Isaac Kalea would be somebody that has really impressed you, or is there anybody else that you could think of who's really put their name in the hat, who maybe came from nowhere?
Yeah, I thought Isaac did really well today. Alan was alongside him, and he's quite dynamic, Isaac, and quite quick. He put one down that kind of bobbled away from him when he was in a little bit of space, and I was disappointed, A, that he didn't hold on to the ball, but B, because I love to see him in space. He's actually got good footwork for a big man, and a good little change up of pace. So, he's gone well. Talking to Al earlier, there weren't too many scrums, so we couldn't really have too much of a look at his scrum. But he's gone well. I think there's a few of the other guys who've gone well. I think in total there's 10 debutants across 3 games. So that's a lot of players having their first opportunity in a Wallaby jersey. So again, I don't want to be reactive on today. I want to be probably considered on the last 3 weeks, and then talk to the other coaches. I mean, I don't tell Chrono how Isaac's going in the scrum, because I just think he's pushing. That's about all I know,
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers, Joe.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Guys, we're going to